Shalom. First and foremost, giving all acknowledgement to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the men whom I learned this truth from, my teachers. Starting with the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone. Alright, and Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham to all the real Akim out there, pushing this word. In all sincerity, making sure that this truth is preached throughout the four corners of the earth. All right. I just want to do a quick lesson dealing with, faith and how important it is. Because we're just at the times that we're coming into. At the end of the day, all we're gonna have to lead us and to direct us, through the hard times is our faith. What we know, what we believe in. All right. Because when things get bad, people are going to be looking to Buddha, Allah, Jesus, all these different false gods and whatnot. Again, only those that are really rooted in this thing, they're going to really put their trust in Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, because as is often brought out, Isaiah, what was that, where it says, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Isaiah, bear with me. Slack, I'm in the wrong chapter. Isaiah 33, not 30, I was in 30. Isaiah 33 and 6, it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation, the fear of Yahweh is his treasure. And of course, the beginning of wisdom is fearing Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai. All right. Which it involves, basically being indulged in his word. Because again, we're coming into times where everything's going to be taken from us. We're not going to have anything other than what we know, or what we've studied, because again, at the end of the day, that's all we're going to have, So, because a lot of people, they really undermine faith. Yeah, a lot of people might go through the motions or whatnot. You can go through the motions, but again, do you believe in what you're doing? You have, within the Hebrew Israelite community, you have individuals that are out there teaching, telling Israel who they are, but do they believe that, are they doing it to be seen of men? Are they doing it to receive vainglory, or do they really believe in, waking up the elect, or receiving that reward, that incorruptible crown, and so on and so forth. Because again, where this is a completely faithless society. Luke 18. It talks about Luke 18 and Luke 18 and 8. It says, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? Yeah, because again, people really do undermine faith, just because it's not happening, right then and there, here it is, the second coming of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. It's been preached for over 2,000 years. And of course, people, they start getting complacent. They start, casting it off like, he ain't coming back. But again, that's because there's no faith. And again, how important is your faith? It's very important. Speaking for myself, and I'm sure I can speak for others, but just speaking for myself, faith is, it's because I'm here today. Faith has taken me a long way, man. Let me tell you, and it's still carrying me, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. So just want to pull a couple of examples of, individuals that had faith. Some of these accounts I love, hearing about them. I love going through them and talking about them. First account here in St. John's, the 5th chapter, starting at the first verse. The first verse. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Yahushua went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethsaida, having 5 porches. So this was pretty much like a good size, a large pool, right? It says, in these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. So by this particular pool, you would have certain individuals with all type of, they might, just any type of sickness or disease. People that were paralyzed, people that were blind, or whatever the case may be, they would sit by this particular pool. All right. Reading in verse 4, it says, "For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first after the troubling of the water stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had." So again, all these individuals with all these different disabilities, basically, once this angel came down, or because this was an angel, you have different angels that have different duties and tasks, and things of that nature. Like this, Revelation 16:5, it talks about, reading Revelation 16:5, it says, "And I heard the angel of the waters say." So you see, this was an angel of the waters. You have different angels that, they control different elements. You have different angels of fire. And you have all type of angels, and they do all type of specific duties or whatnot. All right. So this particular angel, he controlled this pool, so to say, and he would trouble the water, and any individual that would get into the water, after this angel troubled the water, he will be healed of all of his or her infirmities. Will basically be cured, right? So reading on to verse 5, it says, "And a certain man was there which had an infirmity 38 years." So this particular individual, he will wait at this pool. He's been waiting for 38 years. He's been waiting, to get his shot. He's waiting for his opportunity, to get into this pool and to be cured. All right. It says, "When Yahushua saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he saith unto him, Will thou be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool, but while I am coming, another steppeth down before me." So you see, so every year for 38 years, this individual, this man, as he was about to, basically, dip into this pool. There was another individual pretty much, beat him to the punch. But that's not to say, this man, he didn't give up faith. You see, that's the point. Because 38 years, waiting 38 years for anything, that's a damn long time. But again, show this man, he didn't, every year he showed up around this, particular time. He was there, and he didn't get it this year, but he knew, next year, he showed up next year, hoping and believing he'd get it. He knew he'd get it. Which is the point. That faith. Faith will take you to places, man. It'll take you. It brings something out of you that you didn't know you had. So reading on. Verse 8, it says, Yahushua saith unto him, Rise, take up thy bed and walk. And immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked, and on the same day was the Sabbath. So you see, because again, at the end of the day, this guy, it was his faith. Because again, for 38 years, this brother was waiting on his chance, or waiting on his opportunity. But that didn't stop him from, having faith. That didn't stop him from showing up. Because that's one thing, people got to understand, that is that Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he looks at these things. In your time of trouble, what are you gonna do? You're gonna cry out to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You're gonna wait on the Lord, or you're gonna go about it the carnal way, and try to go about it your own way. See, that's the thing. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he looks at your faith. Especially in the time of your trouble, your tribulation. All your actions, all your thoughts, it's all being recorded. But your faith is something that pleases it is pleasing unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai. When it talks about the sacrifices in Romans the 12th chapter, starting at the first verse, and it talks about the sacrifices, we are the sacrifice. The scriptures talk about get it real quick. In Psalms 51, the 51st chapter. Psalms 51 and see where I can start. I mean, this whole chapter is good, man. But basically, that sacrifice, we are the sacrifice. I'll just read verse 17. It says, the sacrifices of the Most High are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. O Most High, thou wilt not despise. So you see, because again, and again, your faith can be included into that. Because again, because one thing people don't understand is with faith, it takes humility. Because here it is, you think you're something when you're really nothing. We have no power. Our power comes from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Our strength comes from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But and when you acknowledge that, that we are the ones that, we can't do nothing by our on our own accord. It's Yahweh Shem Yahushai. He feeds us every day. He clothes us, shelters us. Everything. It comes from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And it's like, when you look to the Lord for these things. Yeah, we do what we got to do. We go to work and everything to make ends meet and whatnot. But ultimately you know where, again, you know, your daily bread comes from, you know, because again, you know, it's like you, so, but because again, you know, when we're crying out to Yahweh Shem Shai for these things, you know, and actually believing in these things, you know, again, and that's pleasing unto the Lord, you know, because here it is, you know, go to James. A lot of times you might pray, but you don't really, you know, it might seem like a far-fetched thing for Yahweh, Shem Shai, you know, to perform, you know, whatever's on our mind. But when you read James, the first chapter, and starting at the verse 5, it says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So you see, you know, when you ask Yahweh Shem Shai, anything in righteousness, he'll gladly give it to you. You know, you don't have to pay a fee or anything like that. You know, but the thing is, do you believe? Do you have faith that Yahweh Shem Shai he can perform? That's what it tells in verse 6. It says, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. So you see, when you asking Yahweh Shem Shai for anything, you know, and you just it might seem like a far-fetched thing for Yahweh Shem Shai. You know, you might be in a situation where it seems like, you know, the Lord, I don't think he could pull this one off of me. Well, I mean, that's what you're going to get, you know, because again, you know, you don't have faith, and your faith is you know, that's something that's very important, because again, you know, these times that we're coming into, that's all we're going to have at the end of the day is our faith. You know, whether we be, you know, in the woods, living off the grid, you know, running from law enforcement, or, you know, because, you know, certain of us, you know, we're going to have bounties on our heads, and it's going to be all manner of chaos out here, you know. And again, you know, if you don't believe, if you don't have faith in Yahweh Shem Shai, then, you know, you're going to be consumed by these things, you know. And matter of fact, before I get that account of the apostles, their lack of faith, I'm going to get some more examples. Mark, the 5th chapter. I'm going to start at verse... Mark 5, and I'm going to start at verse... I'm going to start at verse 19. Mark 5 and 19. Howbeit Yahushua suffered him not, but saith unto him, Go home to thy friends, and tell them how great things the Lord hath done for thee, and hath compassed and had compassion on thee. And he departed and began to publish in Decapolis how great things Yahushua had done for him. And all men did marvel. And when Yahushua was passed over again by ship unto the other side, much people gathered unto him, and he was nigh unto the sea. So, see, that's the thing, you know, because you know, these so-called celebrities today, you know, that's not, you know, that's not real, you know, that they're not real celebrities. All right, real celebrity, you know, real fame is coming to the Hebrew Israelites soon. All right, because here it is, you know, Yahushua, you know, he had, you know, crowds of people. You know, it was to the point where it was, you know, like shoulder to shoulder, you know, it was crowded. You know, it says, verse 22, it says, and behold, there cometh one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name, and when he saw him, he fell at his feet. See, showing, displaying humility. All right, because that's one thing, um, people today, they think they're too good to pray, you know, humble themselves down and ask for something from Yahweh Shem Shai, but again, faith, it definitely takes humility. Prayer takes humility, you know. It says, and he besought him greatly, saying, My little daughter lieth at the point of death. I pray thee, come and lay thy hands on her, that she may be healed, and she shall live. And Yahushua went with him, and much people followed him and thronged him. And again, that's going into where it says, and he and thronged him again. It was like crowded, like shoulder to shoulder, packed, like sardines, like they, say in the world, you know. It says, and a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years, and had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing bettered, but rather grew worse. So this particular woman, as Yahushua was going to perform this miracle, all right, this particular woman, she was dealing with an issue for 12 years. She was, guess you could say she was like on her period. She had a running cycle, running blood. She spent all her money, just to put it in modern day terms, she spent all her money, seeking all type of doctors and physicians, and none of them can do anything about it, right? It says, when she had heard of Yahushua, came in the press behind and touched his garment. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the plague. So you see, she said to herself, all I got to do is just touch his garment, and I can be healed. Why? It's because of her faith, right? And Yahushua told her that. When you read on, it says, and Yahushua, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned him about in the press and said, who touched my clothes? So you see, because again, this woman, she touched all she did was touch the garments of Yahushua, and she was healed. And it says virtue had gone out of him, which is basically, it's like, like like a power surge, or like energy, you know you know that's the way I can, I'm trying to put it. It's like a wave of energy, transferred. It's not saying like, she touched Yahushua, and his virtue gone, and he drained him, and he was, he didn't have any more virtue. No, it's just, it was like a transfer of energy, the best way I can put it, from Yahushua, to this woman, and she was healed. um and of course, it was enough to get his attention, for him to know and realize, someone had touched him. In the midst, in a crowd of people, it was enough for it to get his attention. All right. Again, just showing that, it was like a surge of energy. This is the best way I can put it. Came off Yahushua to this woman. Verse 31, it says, and his disciples said unto him, Thou seest the multitude thronging thee, and sayest thou, who touches thee? So, because again, they were in the midst of all these people, and again, it was like bumper to bumper. So in reality, bumper, it was like shoulder to shoulder, it was packed, so in reality, pretty much, everyone was touching everyone. But again, this got the attention of Yahushua to the point where he was able to realize, this event took place, something happened, and he was able to, this woman, all right, in the midst of all these people, this woman, she had faith, all right. Verse 33 says, but the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what was done in her, came and fell down before him, and told him all the truth. And he said unto her, Daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace and be whole of thy plague. So you see, it's because of her faith. All right. Her, it's because of the faith that she had in, Yahushai, and just touching his garment, and she believed that she could be healed. All right, because like I said, the faith, man, that's something that'll take you to places. It'll take you to unimaginable places, man. Faith, like I said, it'll bring something out of you didn't know you had. You know, So, like I said, this was while Yahushua was going to, um, he was in the process of going to, perform this miracle, or perform one miracle. This miracle happened. All right. So that took place. All right. And it said, reading on, it says, while he yet spake, there came forth from the ruler of the synagogue's house certain which said, Thy daughter is dead. Why troublest thou the master any further? As soon as Yahushua heard the word that was spoken, he saith unto the ruler of the synagogue, Be not afraid, only believe. Because that's one of those things, people don't understand, is death. All right. A lot of people still believe, when you die, when this physical body dies, that's it. There's nothing else left. And that's a heathenistic way of thinking, because that's what the heathens, they believe in that. When you go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, I'll start at Wisdom of Solomon 2 and verse 1. It says, for the ungodly, which is more so talking about the wicked, which is Esau, another code name for Esau, said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright. Slacky, let me forget it. Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy, neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. So you see, well, let me read on. It says, For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. For the breath of our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our heart. So basically, this short life that we live, because Esau, they don't believe in reincarnation. They believe this is the only life, that whole YOLO, you only live once. This is where they get that. The Esau and the nations, they believe in that. They believe in that way of thinking, right? And a lot of our people have adopted that way of thinking. Reading on, it says, which being extinguished, our body shall be turned into ashes, and our spirit shall vanish as the soft air. So you see, this is how they think. They think the body dies, and your spirit, it just goes into nothingness. I'm gonna jump on down. Read verse 6. It says, Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. So again, that whole YOLO, you only live once. That's something that they believe in. They don't believe in reincarnation. They don't believe in, because that's one thing people don't understand, is there's a lot more things that take place after. There's a whole realm of things that go on after this short and temporary life that we live, and while we're living in it, while we are alive, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in the spiritual realm, things that we can't see, but Esau, because they're carnal and they have no faith, they don't believe in these things, but Oh, this is okay. So because it was the spirit that brought that out. Because what I actually wanted was Wisdom of Solomon, the third chapter. But the spirit wanted me to bring that out. It's Wisdom of Solomon 2, nevertheless. Okay, so Wisdom of Solomon, the third chapter, it says, "But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of the Most High, and there shall no torment touch them. In the sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and their departure is taken for misery." Because you see, you know, a lot of times, individuals may die, and someone who doesn't is unwise, someone that's unwise in the scriptures, um, they'll look at that, um, or excuse me, someone more so, someone in the truth, because using the prophets of old, all the most of them are the prophets, just using like the apostles, most of them or all of them, except for John, all of the apostles died horrible, for the most part, horrible deaths, or whether it was beheaded or crucified or whatever the case may be. You read about Paul. Paul was stoned. He had an outer body experience. The apostles, for the most part, they died gruesome deaths. And again, someone with the untrained, who's untrained in these scriptures, they'll look at that like, damn, this was a man of the Lord. Most I was dealing with him. You know, but again, not knowing and not understanding how just not knowing, how Yahweh Shem Shai operates, you know. Um, read on verse 3, it says, "And they're going from us to the utter destruction, but they are in peace." So you see, that's what people don't understand, Um, for the most part, when any soul dies, when anybody dies, the spirit might, or excuse me, the body might die, but the spirit, it goes back to where the Heavenly Father is at. All right, and up there, in that realm, is nothing but peace, rest. All right, because that's when somebody passes away, they're just simply at rest. You know, forefathers of old, when you hear about one of our forefathers dying, a lot of times you're like King David and King Solomon. Um, you'll read about how they were laid to rest. Basically, they're at rest with the fathers. Because again, these bodies might die, but spiritually, our spirits, they go back to where the Heavenly Father is, because all souls, all spirits belong to the Heavenly Father. So that's where the spirits go, right? And up there is at peace. Even the wicked, talks about that in Job, how even though, I believe it's Job, talks about how, even in paradise, the wicked, they're at rest, they're at peace. But again, that's something that people who aren't trained in the scriptures, they don't understand these things. We're reading verse 4, it says, "For though they be punished in the sight of men, yet is their hope full of immortality." So you see, because again, when you die, that's not it. Or when this body dies, I mean, that's not it. There's a lot more that goes on. Um, and again, just for the most part, spirits, they're recycled. All right. They say, what's that saying in the world? Because there's nothing new under the sun. They say history repeats itself, and that's no coincidence, because it's always the same spirits coming back. All right, our spirits, the body dies, but the spirit is recycled, and the spirit, goes to rest. It goes to the Heavenly Father. It's at rest for a certain period of time, and then it comes back, to fulfill whatever lot that is written for you to fulfill. All right, but again, this is something that and this is something that'll bring you peace. Because, like, using an example, my wife, um, her son's father, he has a wife, but and they didn't have, they pretty much they had beef, but she ended up passing away, and my wife actually, even though they had beef, she, kind of took it to heart. She kind of felt bad, and I told her, there's no need to worry about it, because she's at rest. She's at peace. She's good. you know, and she's gonna come back. You'll see her again. That's usually what I tell people, you know, whenever someone passes away or whatever, you'll see them again. Whether you were at all, you may be at odds with them or whatever the case may be. But in the kingdom, you'll see them again, and in the kingdom, you're gonna be back in your right. You know, we're all gonna be in our right mind. There's not gonna be no beef. You know, you're not gonna have you know Jake shooting each other and killing each other or none of that stuff. You know, it's all gonna be good in the kingdom. We're all gonna be you know, good with one another in the kingdom. Everything in the kingdom is going to be perfect, you know. So, going back to this account in Mark, the 5th chapter, I'll start at verse 36 again. It says, and Yahushua heard that the word, as soon as Yahushua heard the word that was spoken, he said unto the ruler of the synagogue, be not afraid, only believe. So you see, whenever you hear someone has passed away, don't worry about it. It's easier said than done because, it might have been a loved one or whatever the case may be. But, I'm not saying it's easy, but again, don't grieve on, you don't have to grieve on it too long because again, they're good. And as far as the whole thing with hell, burning forever, your soul burning, there's no such thing as hell. All right. That's a Greek mythology. That's a doctrine that was that's pushed on these churches to basically scare the people and to get money out of them. There's no such thing as hell. Oftentimes when the scriptures talks about hell, it's more so talking about the actual grave. Like someone being buried into hell, being buried in the ground, or more so a condition. Because for the most part, we're all in hell, living in hell. But nevertheless, there's no such thing as hell. All right. All spirits, whether they be good or bad, they go back to the Heavenly Father. And they're at peace, they're at rest. All right. And that should bring you some comfort because again, you might have lost a loved one, close family member, whatever the case may be, but again, they're not gone forever, and again, you're going to see them again. That's a part of this gospel, this good news, So reading on verse 37, and again, this is something that we gotta that's why Yahushua said, be not afraid, only believe, because again, it's easier said than done. When someone passes in this lifetime, I mean it might be hard to fathom because they're physically not here, but nevertheless, pretty much everything that I just brought out, is something that you gotta believe in, something that you gotta have faith in. Someone you love dearly passes away, you have faith that you'll see him again. It all goes back to faith. And but before I bring that out, before I jump the gun, I'm gonna continue reading on. Verse 37, it says, and he suffered no man to follow him, save Peter and James and John, the brother of James. And he cometh to the house of the ruler of the synagogue, and seeth the tumult, and them that wept and wailed greatly. And when he was come in, he saith unto them, why make ye this ado and weep? The damsel is not dead, but sleepeth. So you see, again, when someone, dies in this flesh, when this body dies, you're simply at rest. And, you go back to the spirit world, and low key, think this to myself sometimes, low key, makes me kind of jealous because again, up there in the heavens, I want to be there, chilling. I want to be at rest. But again, there's work that needs to be done here. So nevertheless, I got to do this work first. But again, I believe Paul, the Apostle Paul, said that, because like I mentioned earlier, he had that outer body experience when he was being stoned, and he described heaven, being something that he couldn't even put into words, something so magnificent and glorious, and the Apostle Paul, he said, he said the same thing, he had that same attitude, though he said, though I'd rather be, and I'm not, quoting it verbatim, but he basically said, though he'd rather be in heaven, he'd rather be, in the spiritual realm, the spirit world. He understands that's work that needs to be done here on earth, so, so yeah, again, people that, die in this lifetime, they're just simply at rest. You know, they're good. You don't got to worry about them. You know. So reading on to verse 4, it says, and they laughed him to scorn. So you see, that's the same thing we get, today. You know, we talk about these things, and people just look at us funny. They scoff, they scorn, or whatever the case may be. But again, it's a thing of belief. Do you believe in this thing? Do you believe in these things? You know. It says, but when he had put them all out, he taketh the father and the mother of the damsel and them that were with him, and entered into the damsel, entereth in where the damsel was lying. And he took the damsel by the hand and said unto her, Talai the Kumai, which is being interpreted, damsel, I say unto thee, arise. And straightway the damsel arose and walked, for she was of the age of 12 years, and they were astonished with a great astonishment. So you see, it's nothing for the Lord to bring someone back from the dead. But again, that's something that's hard for a lot of people to fathom, because they just don't, well, for one, they don't have faith. That's why when you I think that's John the 11th chapter, when it talks about how Yahweh Shai wept. Well, I'm not gonna give, but I think, let me just see if that's it. St. John's 11. Yeah, when it says St. John's 11:35, where it says Yahweh Shai wept. And that was dealing with the case with Lazarus when Lazarus died. The people, they were mourning and crying and whatnot. And when you read that chapter, of course, it talks about how Yahweh Shai, he loved Lazarus. It says he loves Mary, he loved Lazarus, right? I'm just seeing if that got those names right. But basically, it says Yahweh Shai loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. St. John's 11:5. But again, you didn't see Yahweh Shai all but hurt because Lazarus passed away like everyone else. Yahweh Shai wept because they didn't believe that he can bring Lazarus back from the dead. That's why he wept, because of their lack of faith, their disbelief. Because again, all the miracles and everything that Yahweh Shem Shai has done for us, that's the thing. People think that Yahweh Shem Shai is just some, the Heavenly Father is just some stone cold, being that doesn't have emotion. No, he has feelings, he has emotions. That's where we get our emotions from. And when we don't, that's why the scriptures talk about how the Lord, he's jealous. He's a jealous power. We provoke him to anger. But nevertheless, when one of his own people, they don't show him faith, they don't believe in him, that's like a slap in the hand. It can hurt. That hurts the Lord. And again, this account where Yahweh Shai wept, he wept because they didn't believe, the people didn't believe that Yahweh Shai, this is something that, again, like I mentioned earlier, one of those far-fetched ideas that, Yahweh Shai, I don't think he can do this. I don't think he can pull this one off. That's why Yahweh Shai wept, because of their lack of belief, their lack of faith, excuse me. And that takes me back to Matthew's the 17th chapter, where I was talking about the apostles. Here it is that the Lord gave them the power. Matthew 17:19, it says, then came the disciples to Yahweh Shai apart and said, why could not we cast them out? Because they were trying to cast these demons out, but they couldn't do it. Verse 20 says, and Yahweh Shai said unto him, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. So you see, it ended up not working out for the apostles, that particular event, because they didn't really, because that's the same thing we're telling, we're speaking now, because When all hell breaks loose out here and Esau comes in like a flood, it talks about in Isaiah 59 and 19. When that flood comes in, you have these different martial law troops and sweeping through America and whatnot, taking us up and whatnot. Scripture say in that same verse, it says that the Lord's going to lift up a standard. All right, and because that's one thing that the elders, the apostles, they teach. That certain brothers are going to be getting spiritual powers. You're going to have real life Supermans out here flying around out here. Luke Cages and Flashes. You're gonna have certain brothers that are gonna be teleporting and doing all type of crazy things. Things that it's hard for us to fathom because again we're in this flesh and we only see that stuff in the movies. But Esau knows damn well what's about to happen, and that's why they make those movies. But again we're saying the same things today. Certain brothers are gonna get superpowers. All right, brothers gonna be teleporting and doing all kind of crazy stuff. But again, that's a thing of faith. Do you really believe? Because you got a lot of individuals, they laugh at us, they call us crazy and all type of stuff. That's a far-fetched theory to a lot of people. They don't believe it. But those are the faith they do. Yahweh is I'm one of those men, man, because I believe. I definitely believe in it, because Yahweh Shai here, he performed a lot of miracles when he walked, so many miracles that it can't even be contained in it can't be contained in this book. All the miracles that he performed, they can't be written in this Bible, and the Lord said that, we'd be doing greater things than he did. We'd be doing more than him. That's not to say we're going to be better than him, but, he's not here to do it himself. So, that's why his servants, I'm gonna be doing all type of crazy things, spiritual interventions and stuff. But again, it's a thing of faith. Do you believe? Do you have faith? That's a far-fetched idea for a lot of our people, but nevertheless, hey, if you don't believe in it, then hey, it's not it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen for you, per se. But dealing with this topic of faith, man, why is faith important? Why is your faith important? Ultimately, read the first Peter's the first chapter. I'm gonna start at verse I'll just start at verse 1 and read on down. It says, Peter, an apostle of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia, elect according to the foreknowledge of the Most High, the Father, through sanctification of the Spirit, unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Grace unto you and peace be multiplied. See, ultimately, this word is only the elect will believe, in these things, because ultimately that's who's going to get it. That's who's going to receive this word. Those are the only ones who are going to actually, basically get this faith. In times that we're in, the times that we're coming into, they're going to be the ones to get it. It says, blessed be the Most High, the Father of our Lord, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, which according to his abundant mercy hath begotten us again unto a lively hope by the resurrection of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach from the dead. And see, that's one of those things. A lot of people don't believe that Yahweh Shai, who, the word ignorantly calls Jesus, they don't believe that he rose from the dead. They don't believe he rose from the dead. They don't believe in none of the miracles that he performed. They don't believe he rose Lazarus from the dead. Jairus, his daughter, was risen from the dead. People don't believe in these things. It says, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled, and that fadeth not away, reserved in heaven for you. So ultimately, your faith is important because, well, let me just read on down. It says, who are kept by the power of the Most High through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time, wherein ye greatly rejoice through now Though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations. So you see, because our faith, or excuse me, our temptations, all the hell and trials and tribulations that we go through, is supposed to build our faith. It's supposed to boost our faith. All right, because one thing about our people, man, when something bad happens, that's the first thing they're crying out is, "Oh God, oh Jesus." You know, the Lord knows how to put you in a position to where you call out unto Him, to where you need Him. To where you humble yourself. And again, that goes back to faith, because faith requires humility. You know. But again, our different. Well, reading on in verse 7, it says that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth. So you see, and gold, that's something that's very, very, very extremely valuable. But here it is. The Lord said, your faith is more precious than gold that perisheth. So you see, gold eventually it perishes. But your faith, that's something that that's like I said, that's something that'll take that'll take you to places you never thought you can go, and that'll bring something out of you never thought you didn't even know you had in you. You know, it says, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua HaMashiach. So you see, only those that are going to be rooted and built in this faith, man. When Yahushua shows up, and it's all said and done, those are going to be the ones that be glorified because they held on to their faith. When you going back to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, because again, it's saying, you got all these individuals, people, they're laughing at us, they're scoffing, cussing us out, calling us crazy. But Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, says, starting at verse 1, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness. See, that's why we do this, because we have faith. That's why we're bold in this thing, because we believe in this thing to the 100, to the fullest, 144%. We believe in this thing. That's why we have boldness. It says, before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. So you see, those that stand firm and in this faith, those are going to be the ones to be delivered. All right. And all those that, laughed at us and mocked and scorned and everything, they talk their shit. They're going to be, basically left behind, and they're going to be looking at the ones that get delivered like, oh shit, like they were right. I can, just picture and imagine, these were the people, these were the chosen people of the Most High. Oh, they were right this whole time. It says they're going to be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, because one of the things we preach is UFOs, or so-called UFOs. Those are actually chariots of, the Al-Bashim Yahushai, and those are going to be that's our ticket out of here. Those are going to be that's going to be our way out of here. Because when all hell break loose, and when it's all said and done, and nuclear missiles are being shot off throughout the four corners of the earth, everyone else is getting burnt up by nuclear fire. You're going to have the elect. Again, that's because that's who this message is for at the end. It's for the elect. All right. And the elect, they're going to be saved by those so-called UFOs, but they're chariots. All right. Again, because that's one of the things we teach is, the chariots. Those are our brothers. Every time I talk about that subject, people look at me crazy and, getting some type of funny comment or whatever the case may be. But again, because it's prophesied in the scriptures, scoffers are going to come in this time. Scoffers are going to be scoffers. Let them do the thing, So yeah, that's it on that. So where was I at? So reading verse 7 again, says that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua HaMashiach. So you see, all those that held on to the faith, they stood boldly in this thing. All those that had faith, they're going to be the ones that are going to get raised up, given that glory, that crown. Everyone's going to bow down to, or we'll start with Yahushua and the elect. You know, read verse 8. It says, "Whom having not seen ye love." So you see, because it's easy when when Yahushua walked the earth 2,000 years ago, it was easy to believe. When he was actually performing miracles and stuff. It was easy to believe then. You know, um, it says, "In whom though now ye see him not, yet believing." So now, he's not here with us, and you know, how much more now do you believe now that he's not here? Where's your faith now that he's not here? You know, um, reading on, it says, "Ye rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of glory, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls." So you see, at the end of all this, we're going to receive salvation. All right, and your patience possesses your souls, man. You know, faith. I believe that's in Hebrews. Faith is the substance of something seen, or excuse me, it's a faith. It's a substance. It's a just get it. Faith is a belief in something not seen, basically. Hebrews 11:1, it says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." So you see, and dealing with faith, you read the Hebrews 11 chapter. That's a damn good chapter. You read about all our forefathers and the faith that they had. You know, but again, just showing that the faith is something it's your belief in something not seen. It's like you're waiting at the bus stop. You don't see the bus coming, but you know it's coming. That's faith. You know, you go to bed at night knowing, for the most part, knowing that you're going to get up the next day. You know. So, but basically, because again, this, we're coming into a time where everything's going to be taken from us, and all we're going to have is this word. Again, Yahushua, he's not here. He's not physically here. Though he's here in spirit, he's not physically here. So how much more your faith now that he's not here? But how important is your faith, man? It's very important. The point I wanted to get out of the First Peter was basically the kingdom. Salvation. It's all that's on the line. That's how important your faith is. Salvation being on the line. Only those that have faith are gonna make it. Be a part of that first resurrection. You're gonna escape from that second death. So again, if you don't have faith, man, if you don't have faith now, pray to Yahweh Shem Yoshai, fast and pray to Yahweh Shem Yoshai, that he builds your faith, man, because again, this is the time to get it. This is the time to get it now. Before it's too late. So, Yahweh Ratazah, you edified. Once again, giving all acknowledgement to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And once again, double honors to the men whom I learned this truth from. Start with the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone. Until next time, I say Shalom.